Business Beat Live. Joining me tonight on the Business Beat Live edition is GINA CHARLES, who comes down from the Hudson Valley area, who has written a book called Shift Happens, a Laypersons Guide to Awakening.
Thank you so much for having me.
The adage that I derived a gazillion years ago, I don't necessarily take credit for it, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't try, you'll never know.
Right.
So why not?
A thinking mind lies, and that's pretty much the truth of it. It lies. And I believe those lies just like many of us do. I'm never going to be able to learn this. I'll never be able to do that. This is never going to get any better. And we believe everything that we think, and we don't afford ourselves the luxury of taking a thought and just examining it and looking at it and just asking, is this absolutely true? And most often it is not. But we don't do that. We just swallow it down, and now we believe that we can't do this, or this is not going to change, and we do ourselves a disservice.
Well, I think one reason why a lot of people may have the thought process of I can't do this or I can't do that is because maybe either they've been brought up, or co-workers, or a spouse or something like that may have continually said when they've mentioned the idea, that isn't going to work. You can't do it. You haven't got this. You haven't got that. You haven't got enough money or whatever. And that negative impact may lead them to believe upstairs, so to speak, that maybe I can't do it.
What are reasons? Reasons are thoughts packed up into what we call a belief. It's like a snowball, right? You get a whole bunch of snowflakes and you pack them up and there's a snowball. That's what a belief is.
So that's kind of my belief, that someone says, I can't do it, and then they've got all these 14 different reasons perhaps.
Yes.
I can't do it because of, well, like the items that I just mentioned.
Yes. And most often none of them are true. None of them are true. So I invite people to take a look at that and to discover it for themselves. Nothing that I say or anyone else speaking about basic universal laws or spirituality is to be believed. It's for you to come to know on your own, to move into it, to move into the knowing of it beyond the words. And that's where the aha moment is. I can point to the truth, but I can't give you conscious expansion. Only you can have your own aha moment. And in those aha moments comes your discovery of self, happiness, more peace. Here in this place we call life, we have consciousness, pure consciousness, which is what everything is made of, which is who we are. A lot of people believe that when our form dies, when our bodies die, that we go on to someplace else. Well, what is that? That's consciousness. There's all different words for it. I try never to get hung up on semantics. Your higher, I usually call it my higher self. Some people call it a soul. That's that which I really am. And here in this place, we have unconsciousness, which is my thinking mind. And our thinking mind is kind of like the software. And this is a tool that we get to use while we're here. The problem is, sometimes in our life, the tool uses us. And we have incessant chatter in our head, and we have thoughts that we believe before we examine them.
That kind of raises the question sometimes if that should be the case. Kind of like, well, now what do I do in that scenario?
Yes. Well, like I write in the book, it's always simple, but it's not always easy to incorporate into your life at first. But then again, we weren't born walking. We had to hone that skill. If you can type, you weren't born typing. We had to take one finger at a time and hone that skill. And it's not a painful process. And if we can
train... You get an iPhone for the first time, you got to hone that skill.
There you go, right.
That sort of thing.
Right, and that was a little painful process for me, so...
I won't tell you about mine, but I'm not quite to that point, but that's fodder for another talk.
So it's a skill that you hone, and you take it in your own time, because the premise is that everything is as it should be, and everything happens in the exact time it's supposed to. It's only when we're in resistance to things that we are susceptible to pain and suffering.